Hey you guys, oh my god. Hey you guys and welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a review and wear test on the new Wet n Wild Photofocus Dewy Foundation. I was really excited to try it. I am not the biggest fan of the original Photofocus foundation from Wet n Wild. That foundation just like never blew me away and I was never super impressed by it. But when this one came out, I was like, I need to try it. I need to see if this one is better or worse or the same as the original. So that's what we're doing today. It's not a first impression. I have worn this one already to work, but I will do a wear test and try and get at least like 8 or 9 hours of wear. It is Super Bowl Sunday today, so I'm filming this at 11:45 in the morning. And then I'm gonna head to my parents' house to watch it because I do not have cable. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you're enjoying Foundation February and let's just go ahead and get started. I am actually sick again. I can't believe it, but I feel like I cannot catch a break. I keep getting this like cold, runny nose and it's super annoying. But I'm going to prep my skin with the NYX Bear With Me Setting Primer Spray. By the way, I'm drinking coffee this morning. I've been really enjoying the McCafe coffee. I just think McDonald's has the best coffee, like the best tasting coffee. So I bought the like tub of it and that's what I'm drinking today with my coconut creamer. Normally I would drink coffee black, but because I bought coconut creamer, I've been using it like once every 2 days and I just really like it in my coffee. I have the shade Golden Beige, meant for like medium warm skin tones. It is a little bit dark for me. It does have a really nice yellow undertone. It says that this hydrates and smooths complexion for a luminous finish, buildable coverage for normal to dry skin, shake well before use. Like I mentioned, I don't actually like the original foundation. I just feel like it didn't look good on my skin. I also could not stand the smell. It smelled so bad. This is like a twisty cap, by the way, and then it's kind of annoying because it's the same packaging as that other one where it's like this paddle style and I just don't like it. I feel like it's hard to use and it gets everywhere, like it drips. I'm gonna try and be very careful with this and not let it drip on my clothes. It's just an annoying applicator, you know? Like I don't know why they think this is a good idea. I'm just going to use a brush to blend this in. This is my Real Techniques sculpting brush, but I actually really like it for foundation. Kind of a more dense like buffing brush, so it's really nice for foundation. It does not smell like the original foundation. Like it does not smell like paint, which is part of the reason I didn't like the other one. It just smelled so bad. This one's definitely fragrance, but it smells a bit like perfume, or I feel like I've smelt this before. I think it smells like the Rimmel Breathable foundation. It has that kind of sweet cleansing type of smell, like some type of like sweet fruity cleanser, I guess. If you are sensitive to fragrances, I feel like this would not be a good one because it definitely has a fragrance. So the color I feel like is not too bad. It's darker than my face, but it kind of matches the rest of my body. My face tends to be a little bit paler on the rest of my body for some reason. So the color match, I feel like it's okay. And this foundation is actually pretty affordable. You get the standard like 30 milliliters of product, but it is pretty cheap. Like I think it was still like $8 or $9 Canadian, which considering the prices at the drugstore, like pretty much every foundation that I tested this month, or I will be testing this month, I don't know when this particular video is coming out, they are so expensive. Like they're $15 to $20. If companies like Wet n Wild and CoverGirl are able to keep their prices low, why are other drugstore brands raising their prices? It's obviously like a money grab because CoverGirl and Wet n Wild can do it, then they all can. So this is what it's looking like with one layer on my face. I actually think it looks really, really good and I'm not gonna add a second layer. The coverage is pretty much a medium coverage with a brush. I think if you apply it with a sponge, you'll probably get slightly less, like a lighter coverage. It's given my face a very luminous finish. Like I love the way my face looks with this foundation. Look very glowy and natural. It doesn't look cakey or heavy on my skin. I know it is a medium coverage, but at the same time, my skin still looks pretty natural. It's still showing slight imperfections, my freckles and beauty marks, and just like, you know, natural pigmentation on my skin is still kind of showing through. But I just can't get over how beautiful and luminous this looks on my skin. I love the finish. It's giving me NYX Born to Glow vibes, and to think that this is like a $9 foundation, it's just so, it's incredible. I really, really like it. I totally forgot to put my earrings on. knew I had forgotten something. Like I came down here and I was sitting down and I'm like, what did I forget to do? And it's my earrings. I am going to apply the rest of my makeup on. I feel like this was really quick because I only did one layer, and usually I like build it up on camera in front of you guys, but you really don't need to. Like it just looks so good off that initial layer, and I didn't really apply that much. Like I didn't dip back into the tube. I had enough to cover my entire face. But I'm going to go and apply the rest of my face, and then I will pop back on, show you guys the final look, and tell you what I'm wearing on my skin. Okay, I am back. It is currently 12:15, but I did finish this makeup around 12 o'clock, so that's when I'm gonna call the check-in time. So for concealer, I used my Wet n Wild Photofocus concealer, just like right under my eyes and a little bit around my nose. My nose is so runny today, so I know it's gonna wear away around my mouth and nose area. Like I can already tell you that. I set that with my Milani Prep Setting Glow, and then the rest of my face I set with the Maybelline Superstay Powder. The foundation doesn't feel tacky anymore because I set it, but it did feel sticky and it wasn't really drying down. So I always set my makeup with some type of powder. I always just do a very light dusting, so it doesn't really affect the finish of the foundation that much, but it does get rid of the stickiness. I used my e.l.f. Perpetually Tanned Bronzer, and I used my Milani Romantic Rose Blush. Highlighter, I used my Folklore highlighting palette, and I just mixed these two shades right here. Eyeshadow is well, it's February now, so I'm not using the Revo Pooches palette, and I'm actually kind of sad about it. Like, I miss it. After like using it straight every day for a month, I like feel super sad that I'm not using it anymore. But I chose to use the e.l.f. New Classics eyeshadow palette for the entire month of February, so that's what's on my eyes today, and that's what I'm going to be using all month. Set my face with the Maybelline Lasting Fix Setting Spray, of course. And then on my lips is the Folklore Matte Lipstick in the shade Chestnut. And that is everything. That's my face. That's what I have on. As you can tell in the close-up, the foundation still looks really nice. None of those products got rid of the luminosity of it. It still looks very natural and radiant on my skin. The only thing I will say, like when I look up close in my mirror, I feel like it is making texture and pores stand out a little bit more than some other foundations. I know they say it's a smoothing foundation. I don't see this smoothing my skin, and I definitely can see texture and pores a little bit more obviously than some of my other foundations, which kind of makes sense. I feel like dewy foundations, it's kind of like the toss-up. If you want to have your skin looking radiant and healthy, you're gonna have to deal with things like texture and pores, if you have texture and pores, versus if you were to use a matte foundation. I feel like that hides texture and pores a little bit better. So it is kind of a toss-up, and I understand that, but I just wanted to bring that forward and let you guys know. But anyway, I'm gonna continue on with my day. I think my sister and her boyfriend are gonna pick me up, and we're gonna drive to our parents' house at like 2:30 maybe. I will probably do the check-in at my parents' house. I might bring my camera, I don't know. But I will definitely do it in natural lighting. If you're watching the Super Bowl, I hope you enjoy it. I personally don't like football at all. I don't watch it normally. I really only like watching hockey and baseball. I am only watching the Super Bowl because I organize Super Bowl squares at my work, and I need to see who wins, and I need to see if I win. So that's the reason I'm watching, and plus Shakira, obviously. But anyway, I will see you guys later. Hey you guys, it is currently 4:30 in the afternoon. I just ran up during the second quarter of the football game. I'm in my parents' house in my old bedroom. I don't know if you guys remember this setup. It's looking honestly pretty good still. Like, it doesn't look greasy or shiny or anything. Like, not any more than it did when I first applied it. It doesn't look like it's oxidized either, and it still feels really nice on my skin. Like, it doesn't feel sticky or greasy or anything. It's one of those foundations that I feel like just looks good for a really long time, even though it is radiant and luminous. It doesn't end up looking greasy. I'll keep this on for probably another 5 hours. I think it's already been 4.5, so I'll probably have this on for another 5 or 6 hours, honestly, and then we'll see how it looks at the end of the night. It has worn away obviously around my mouth because I've been eating food, blowing my nose because I still feel sick. Everywhere else it still looks really good. So I will see you in the evening. I'm going to run back downstairs and get ready for the halftime show, because that is clearly the most exciting part about the Super Bowl. Hey you guys, I am back. It is 8:24, so almost 8:30, and this foundation has been on for about 8.5 hours. I think it actually looks really, really good. I have worn this one for longer. Like, I wore it to work already. I put it on at like 6 in the morning, and by the time I got home and took it off, it was 6 p.m. and it still looked really good at that point. So I do know it lasts longer than 8.5 hours, but this gives you an idea of how it's holding up. Honestly, it kind of looks the same as it did at the beginning to me. Like, I don't know if it's coming out a little bit shinier on camera, but in person, like, I don't know, it's not greasy, it's not oily in person. I am, of course, a little bit shinier than I was, which is pretty normal for me. Even if I wasn't wearing a dewy foundation, I feel like it would still look slightly shinier. Of course, it's worn away in the center of my, like, around my nose and my mouth area, because that's where I was eating, blowing my nose, all that stuff. I also didn't win any squares, which really sucks. I had like 5 chances and won nothing, and the girl who won like the biggest pot, like the $300 worth, she had 1 square. Don't you hate it when that happens? Like, the person that wins bought 1 square, and then meanwhile there are people that bought 4, 12, 8, and we didn't win. I just feel like this is a really nice formula, especially for a dewy foundation that is like $9 at the drugstore. This is such a nice long wearing dewy foundation that looks natural, that lasts a long time. Honestly, the only downside I can really see is that it emphasizes textures and pores a little bit, but I feel like you can minimize that if you had a pore filling primer or like a smoothing primer. So really, I don't really have anything negative to say about this. I really like this foundation. I don't know if you have oilier skin or if you get greasier throughout the day. I don't know how you would feel about this. If you're normal, or even if you're a combination skin type, and definitely if you're dry, I feel like you would really like this foundation. I like it so much better than I like the other, like the original Wet n Wild Photofocus foundation. This one is so much better. The only negative I can really think of is the fragrance in it, and I'm a little worried it might break me out. My skin is pretty sensitive. When there's fragrance, I always get a little bit worried about it, especially when it's the perfumey type fragrance. Like, I think when it has a fragrance like paint or something that's super chemically, I feel like that's not a big issue. It's the perfume, like the perfume type fragrances in products. I feel like those ones are the worst for my skin in particular, but we will test this out, and if it does end up causing me to break out, I will let you guys know. Anyway, that wraps up this video. I am really tired. I think I went to bed too late last night, and I'm just feeling really exhausted, so I am going to have tea, take off this makeup, put on my PJs, and curl up on my couch. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Please subscribe if you would like to see more videos, and I will see you in my next one.